talked about at their managers meeting last week the possibility of a business in decline. What does it look like? I threw a few things up on the wall or up on the board for us to consider. What happens? What are the symptoms when a business is in decline? One of them on there is pretty important. It's when communication breaks down, when those connections aren't made. And it kind of took me right back to that, Ed, when you look at the way those strings are attached to one another. Service depends on sales. Sales depends on service. Parts depends on sales. Sales depends on parts. Clothing gets in there as well. Rider's edge depends on all of them. We take them on the whole tour of the place. Along with our customers, they depend on all of them as well. And part of the glue that's underneath, I don't mean to ignore it, but administration as well, because they're the ones that hold us together so that we benefit through our paychecks, through the customers, and through the sales and the reports and all the things that have to be passed around. It ends up being information. By far, you're the smartest group of employees I've ever seen here, because you know more about what's going on than what we used to see in years past. But it's mostly by necessity, because in order to do our jobs well, you got to know what the heck's going on. Before, when we had what? They were rolling off the assembly line 18 months after the guy put the deposit on it. You didn't have to be a salesman. You were just a order taker. And the service department was just trying to keep up. And the parts department was just trying to keep up. And clothing was all over the place. Now people have many more choices. They can choose to do business here. They can choose to go someplace else. They can choose to do it online. They can choose to do it in person. There's a lot of choices that are out there, so we've got to work smarter. And in order to do that, we all have to understand the information that's available, because most of the time, the customer has as much information about it as we do, if not more. So bring it back full circle. By you all sitting at the table mixed up the way you have been today, really helps us establish a company that's a growing kind of culture, not one that could be what I'll call possibly in decline. Does anybody here feel like they've learned a little bit more about someone else in this business today? Mm-hmm. Good. Mission accomplished, pardon, as far as the culture is concerned. Does anybody feel like their voice was heard today? Mm-hmm. Anybody feel like their ideas were shared, or that they had a way of expressing their ideas? Okay? What I'm saying is, and I wouldn't ask a negative because I don't want anybody to be embarrassed, but you know, most of their hands are going up. I would hope that because of the facilitating of Ed, Dwayne, Troy, Ed and Jeff back there, that, you know what, you feel stronger, you feel more empowered. From Pam's role, to the clothing department's role, to the admin role. We all have a lot of challenges. Many times we all get together here to kind of escape some of the things that go on in our world back home. But when we get here, we have a common purpose, and then we go back our separate ways. But then each day we bring it back again. And you know what? You heard me talk about this before. We spend about 8 to 10 hours a day here, some a little more, some a little less. If there's 24 in a day, about a third of it's spent working. A third of it's supposed to be done sleeping. Many of us don't do that. I'm talking about 8 hours. I'd love to have 8 hours. And then the other 8 is trying to figure out what to do to have fun, to kick back. So that means 1/3 of your life is spent doing things you like to do. By God, you know what? I want to do 2/3 of my life doing the things that I love to do. And that's why we're here.
Amen.
That's it.
Okay,
I feel
very
good.
good.
Thank you.